3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We are the Real Pineapple. This is Hunter, and I'm here with... We got everyone in the house tonight. Thank goodness. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm here with Colin. Colin, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I wish we were talking about a better movie, and I'm here with Scott. Scott, how you doing?
Oh, fantastic.
Which I'm assuming...
Little spoiler.
I swear to God.
You're doing fantastic.
First Blade Runner, now Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
God, no, you fucking dare. God, that would
I just
honestly
want to get your reaction.
Scott's just going to turn into the ultimate troll.
Yeah, that would honestly
I'm just
make my
gonna
skin
go just
crawl.
complete opposite of whatever you guys say.
So, okay, you know what? Let's just get into this. We're reviewing. So, we're in October. So we got what, like 10 weeks left of film for the year, basically.
Yeah.
So, I've already started working on my best stuff and my worst stuff list. It'll be interesting to see how it shuffles for the rest of the year. This is definitely going to be on my worst stuff list because we're talking about Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul. And Scott, it's really funny how we were just talking about, we just reviewed My Little Pony, the movie, and we talked about how it just didn't make us upset. This movie fucking angered me. I'll be honest with you, this got in the Yoga Hosers territory for me.
Good, Yoga Hosers.
Yeah, I had that same thought where I was thinking about it. He's like, you know what? I think I would rather watch My Little Pony again. I feel like...
Oh yeah, 10 times out of 10.
Like even thinking back to, the complete, it's how childish that movie was and how it was made for, such a younger audience. I would still watch that movie before I watch this one again.
I would watch Pan again before I ever watch this again.
I fucking Pan.
Dude, I fucking hated this, man. I was sitting there. The only thing that kind of had me interested is how few fucks were given just across the board. No one, not a goddamn person cared about anything in this movie. This felt like one of those things that maybe they were about to lose the rights or something, and they went, well, we have to put something out. And, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Long Haul, well, no one wants to make this. Hey, intern, you're a director now. You want to do this? This was upsetting. Colin, your thoughts?
Yeah, how the fuck did this get made? That's what I can't understand. Watching it, I was like, oh, I think I saw, the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I may have, watched one of the other three, at some point, because you made me to review it. And, watching this one, I was just like, I don't feel like these are the same people. And then I looked at the cast list. Sure enough, everybody's different. And I was like, That's bizarre. And I was like, was it the same for the other three? And I was like, yeah, it was the same for the other three. And I was just like, what happened here? What happened so that this movie even exists? Then I started thinking were the first ones smash successes? And so I looked at each one. The other three each was 20-something mil to make, and then they all made worldwide 75-ish million. So I guess they were this piece of shit's turning a profit, and those were you can argue if those are pieces of shit or if they're great, but and one, they're definitely not great, but
Yeah.
But then like you were saying, they're yeah, just grab an intern. These things just make money. No one gives a fuck what's happening in them. Just it's based off of a popular book series for kids. So, parents are just going to be obligated to take their kid to it because they're going to be Mommy, I was watching Nickelodeon. They're fucking, the long haul's coming out. You got to take me over to throw the biggest tantrum. Everybody's going to say, that's the worst fucking parent I've ever seen. And then, so kids are getting brought to this thing. And, I mean, if I was the parent taking my kid, and I walk into the theater not knowing anything, because why would anybody like research this movie beforehand? And then you just see that it's like a whole new cast. It's like all of a sudden, like they're laying out the plot and the jokes start happening, and you're just like, wow, like I am in for a long fucking haul. Is right. That's a great fucking name for this movie, because it takes for fucking ever, because it's the most like infuriating shit to watch like as you're watching it. Oh my god, yeah. I mean, that's it for my rant for the start of how this fucking thing went. But yeah, Scott, what did you love it?
it was almost like watching a young Ben Stiller. It's like, okay, you get like everything bad happens to this kid. Life sucks. Like, he's a kid, and being a kid sucks, right? No, being a kid does not fucking suck.
It does
like,
not.
The moral of this movie is that being a kid is not shitty, and you're actually the shitty one in this entire situation. It's like, you're the one that is creating all these problems to force your parents to go fucking insane, like, and like all of this stuff. And I mean, the parents in this like do not hold up their end of the bargain when it comes to the acting. It is like
yeah,
borderline at best when it comes to like the acting as far as the adults go. We aren't even talking about the kids.
Yeah, Alicia Silverstone, dude. Like, how far has she fallen from Clueless?
Yeah.
So far, and it's like
Dude.
she probably was maybe the best part of this movie, and that's not saying very much at all. The dad was
a pussy.
That was rough. That was rough to watch.
That guy was mailing it in so hard.
Okay, so let me talk about the dad real quick. I'm happy you brought him up. The dad, just as a man, is such a fucking pussy. He does nothing. Just like the kids are fucking freaking out. And you're right, Scott. It's fucking oh god, what's the kid's fucking name? Greg, who's causing all these problems for himself. And he's like, oh, being a kid sucks. Da, 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 da. It really doesn't. And yet this kid is just, he's being a little shit. And look, admittedly, the mom's saying, hey, you know, we're taking away all tech devices on this trip. I'll tell you right now, if I was a kid and my mom said that, I'd be like, no, I need music. What's wrong with you? But I went through a couple of road trips. I remember we drove from California to Montana, which is like 22 hours, 23 hours, something like that. And honestly, it's still one of my favorite memories. We listened to a bunch of Adventures in Odyssey. If you're a Christian, you know what that is. Listening to that and just, you know, talking. But then again, I love my family. This family clearly hates each other just across the board, because there's no point where I went, oh man, you guys are just totally a family, and I'm totally rooting for you guys to work out your differences and be better people. Because when the end of the movie comes, it doesn't feel like anyone's learned anything, like at all. It just seems like everyone kind of existed enough to get to the end of the film, and that's just shitty writing on top of that. And speaking of shitty, the joke quality in this movie is, honestly, I can't even think of a metaphor for it. Like it's like movie 43. That's what I felt like I was watching, like movie 43 written for kids, because it's just the lamest poop and fart and just jokes that don't make sense. There's a point at the end of this movie where they get stuck in mud, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm thinking, oh my god, the family's gonna get mud on them. Why wouldn't you just go to the other side of the goddamn car? And then the dad's like, oops, what happened to you guys? I'm like, fuck you.
And all of it like starts because he like jumped into a ball pit looking for his younger brother, and he like got a diaper on his hand. So like he has to become not so lame because he became a meme. I was like, are we for real right now? Like, this movie's starting, like the whole point of him trying to get like to this video game expo to make a movie to be cool is because he can't stand being made a meme almost immediately because he jumped into a ball pit and got a diaper on his hand. Oh my god, man!
Yeah, it is a flimsy reason at best,
and it's just it's like oh, I didn't know the whole world all of a sudden thought like the dumbest, like lamest, like a little kid getting a diaper on his hand. Like all of a sudden, like all these adults like run over with their smartphones and start filming them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't know like the whole world became like evil, where like they're just gonna start filming this kid with a diaper on his hand. I was like, oh my god, what's this? Is
not
so
to mention
bad.
just the overly ridiculous like way he carries himself. It's like really like that's how this is gonna unfold. And like you're saying, it's like. That's the beginning. Like, that's just how this thing starts. And his idol is this YouTuber that is... What? What was his name? Dippy or something like that?
Yeah. That's how Dippy do it or some bullshit.
That's how Dippy do it.
Yeah.
And so that's like his journey to meet his idol. And that's where this whole thing starts. I would somewhat disagree with you, Hunter. I disliked...
Scott, I swear to God. I swear to God.
Easy. Let me finish.
Okay.
I strongly disliked car trips when I was younger. Like,
really?
Having to sit in a car with my two brothers who were annoying all the time, and maybe a dog who was like farting the majority of the time. Like it was like not to this extent, obviously, but it got annoying. It got really boring and long. But the hijinks, like in the car that happen, like there's a point where they're eating snacks and he pulls out the Cheetos or whatever.
Oh god!
And all these seagulls just flock in. And he's like, oh look, and that's kind of where it plays that the dad comes in, Frank. The stupidity there was like, hey, probably shouldn't be doing that. He's like feeding these seagulls. It's like, oh okay, I'll throw one more. Oh, hey, no, seriously this time, Greg. You probably shouldn't do that. And then, of course, they all just attack them, basically. And that's just one of many just poorly thought up ideas that are along in this whole car ride. You could completely tell this is like the fourth movie of this series because clearly no one gives a shit. It's like, well, let's just spit something out, hoping to make a few $1 million, and then let's get on with our lives. Because... From the director to the cast, like no one gave a shit.
So sorry. Before I throw it back to Colin, I gotta get this out because I'm thinking about it right now. There is a scene. So look, as someone who genuinely loves film and genuinely like loves studying film, there is a reference, like a Psycho parody in here that I wanted to throw something through my TV.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
You did not just imitate fucking Hitchcock in just the lamest, most... That's when, like, I was already at a D, like, I was already at an F for this movie, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, cool, I know what you're getting. There's nothing that you could do, unless Spider-Man showed up and just killed everyone at the very end. I'm like, oh, cool, well then, it's a C, but just, goddamn, man. So, Alicia Silverstone, I do agree with you, Scott. I mean, there's nothing good about this movie. Let me just state that right now. There's nothing good about this movie. But I felt like she was at least trying, I guess. But, Colin, you put it perfectly. How far has she fallen, man? I remember when I was, 11, 12, I remember just thinking, oh my god, she is just gorgeous. And this is just proof of how Hollywood just goes, oh, you turned 40, well fuck you, because they just went ahead and she's done really just jack since like 99 when she did Blast for the Past. Like she's done stuff here and there, but it's just been short movies and TV movies mostly, and Brace Face, which I actually like. But anyways, it was a bummer, honestly, kind of watching her just suffer through this really just bad shit. We haven't talked about the kids. I want to talk about Jason Drucker, who plays Greg. Who great for us. He's going to be in the Bumblebee, that Transformers spinoff next year. So great, we get to see him next year. Yeah, I know. Aren't you excited?
Dude, that kid looked like he had a spray tan like the whole movie. I was like, who is this kid?
This is so. So it's funny. I was thinking about how we reviewed, like a couple months ago, we reviewed The Glass House, and as much as I didn't like that movie, I gave the kids credit because they really have to carry a good portion of this movie. This kid fucking sucks. This kid is horrible. He's like looking at the camera a bunch, and, like looking off in the distance like he's shooting a fucking album cover. This kid blows, and I was like, God damn it, you're gonna be in a Transformers movie. Great, so I get to hate you doubly once I'm done watching that fucking movie. He's a little shit, and he's one of those kids who seriously grows up and ends up bullying other kids, like freshmen when he's a senior. This kid sucks,
dude, it's because of his parents. His parents are idiots. Like
they are,
dude. Oh man, the kid's absolutely the worst.
And I remember as a kid, like me, and this is gonna sound so old person, get off my lawn, but I remember when I was a kid, I was afraid of my mom. I'm 30 years old, and I still think, oh man, if my mom found out about this, like how much trouble would I be in? This kid is just a little fucker and just talks back to his parents all the time, off of the fact that he reroutes their GPS to go to this gaming convention for the lamest reason, as you mentioned, Colin, because he wants to meet his YouTube sensation hero, who's just the biggest tool anyway. Like, there's nothing about the guy that would make you go, oh yeah, like I'd love to meet this guy. Just off that alone, you'd be grounded for life. But this kid he's just doing little shit, or whether it's talking back to his mom, or not helping out for the little brother, or
like the worst part is that they try to tie it together at the end too. It's like where it's like, oh well, he feels bad about it, so spoiler alert, he gives his mom the phone back. He's like, wait, what a good kid. He doesn't have to be on his phone 24/7. Congratulations, you learned their lesson. When the whole movie he was his little shit, along with his brother, who I feel like his brother could have been a funny part of this movie.
Charlie Wright is that.
Charlie Wright ended up being Roderick was such a miss in this. I feel like he could have been way better. I feel like they completely missed on that character in such a horrible movie. He really brought it down even further.
God, so I'm gonna say right now, like, I don't use this word often, and I hate using this word, but Roderick was retarded. Like, he was so goddamn stupid. There's a point where we're playing this card game, and you see a mile away what they're doing, like, oh, let's figure out if he's been lying to us about all this mischief he's been causing. And so they're like, oh, like, where you want TP'd the house, and he's like, oh yeah, like, I TP'd the house before, I ruled this game. And I was just sitting there thinking, you're gonna be that person who just doesn't complete high school, who's like files for unemployment and just doesn't do anything. Like, you're that person. And I was so goddamn pissed off just watching him. And all I was thinking as somewhat of a rock fan, so I remember the first shirt he's wearing is like an Avenged Sevenfold shirt, and the second shirt he's wearing like a Motorhead shirt. If I was in either of those bands, I'd be like, why the fuck is he wearing my shirt? It's like like put a big black bar across the band name because we don't want to be associated with this fucking movie. And honestly, he's such a shitty big brother too, and the parents are just apparently oblivious to this, or just don't know, or don't fucking care, because he's just being a fucking dick to Greg, and the parents are like, oh, whatever, that's boys being boys. And I just, oh my Jesus Christ on the cross, I fucking hate this movie. Like,
and one of the worst parts about him too was like they were trying to, like, his character, I felt like, was supposed to be like a cool older brother. Like, he's like, oh, I'm in a band, and like he's like, you're never gonna be as cool as me, you're just gonna grow up to be a loser. But like, he was like such a goober and like such a dork. Like, and he wasn't even doing like the cooler older, like, villain evil brother stuff. Like, at one point, he sees he got his phone, and, okay, the way that scene is set up, by the way, too, is, like, they get to, like, the sketchiest motel in the history of motels, and, like, the little, like, Greg is like, hey, I'm gonna go to the hot tub by myself. And they're like, oh, you're gonna go to the hot tub by yourself, and you're what, like 8? Cool, yeah, go for it, have fun. And I was like, what?
Pretty sure we just saw people like humping in that hot tub like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm pretty sure like every week on the news someone is raped in that same hot tub. But cool, yeah, let your little kid go. That's why like every time any scene was set up, I was like, is this Bizarro Land? Like, okay, like you're trying to set up all these jokes with like unbelievable situations. Like, so already he's like, he steals his parents' keys, he gets his phone back, he's like figuring out how to like get them all to the expo, and then his brother shows up, and his brother's such a goober that he finds his fucking phone, and he's just like, oh, you're planning for everybody to go to the expo, I'm gonna go tell mom. Like, of course the cool villain evil brother thing to do there is blackmail, not just like go squeal. Like, you're gonna go like, you're gonna do my laundry, you're gonna like be my like slave, do whatever I want. And then he's just like, ugh, man, like I hated that kid. I'm sure that was like that actor is such a goober himself. He's like, oh, in this situation I think I would just go tell mom. And they're like, all right, whatever. The director was like, I don't care. I'm getting a paycheck. Like, just do whatever the fuck you guys want. So yeah, I don't know.
Can we tattle on this one? I feel like this is like.
Yeah, he's like, I just feel like my character would be a tattletale.
Like, no, you're supposed to be the good, cool older brother. It's like, no, not how way I picture it.
So the thing I think that just really pushed me over the edge is that I don't even remember how this rivalry starts, to be honest with you guys, because I got to a point where I just went, I don't fucking care anymore. So there is a scene where they're seeing the Spice Girls wannabe, and I'm telling you right now, I was begging for someone to hit me in the head with a blunt object. It was the most uncomfortable I felt in a while.
I had to mute it. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, Colin, go ahead.
I just said I had to mute it. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was so cringeworthy. I was like, I can't, or I'm gonna like die of cringing.
Like whenever Chappelle's show would make fun of white people, that's pretty much what they would do. Like, it was just the most like, so tell me what you want, and I was like, God fucking damn it, stop it. Like, oh God, I wanted to just cry. And at the end, towards the end of the movie, of course, to bring them all together, they all start singing Spice Girls Wannabe, and I just, man, dude, it's a good thing I love my TV, because if I had a brick, I would have thrown it through the TV. I was like, God, make it stop. But they go to this country fair where they have fried butter, like, sure, okay. And I don't, can someone remind me how Greg pisses off, like, the bearded guy who ends up stalking him?
I was gonna bring that up. Like, the way, it's funny that you don't remember how this starts, because this is like the stupidest part of this movie. Is like, Greg is outside of his hotel room in his underwear for some particular reason.
Oh, that's right, the card.
Because he heard the card. Yeah. He heard the kids
because
at the
he
card.
Heard that. Okay, yeah, he heard the kids. The kids of the beardos.
Yeah.
He heard the beardos out there.
But apparently in the entire motel, only Greg is the one that heard that in the entire motel, so he runs out and he's the only one.
It's very convenient, for sure. And he's like, hey guys, what the hell are you doing out here? You're being loud as fuck. And they're like, oh, we're just a bunch of rambunctious little bastards. We're going to try to ram you with this maid's cart. Yeah. So they push this huge cart at him, and it swerves, and it hits the van of the dad of those little beardo bastards. And so he comes out, and he's all pissed off, and he thinks that it's Greg. So this whole thing happens because these little asshole kids ruin their own van, and now for some reason this psychopath with this massive beard is tracking down this kid. Apparently the whole family is like a family of psychos that is tracking down this child.
What's he gonna do if he finds him? Like,
yeah, what's gonna happen
if he gets a hold of him? I was like, Jesus, I mean, dude, is he gonna like fucking eat him? Like, this guy's so psycho right now. Like, he doesn't even want to, like, you know, like get a hold of his parents or scold him. He just wants to kill him.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. This family, in just the most improbable way, they end up at the same country fair. The boat that they're dragging their stuff in, by the way, which I just sat there and thought, okay, so what point is the boat gonna detach? What point, like you can just sit back and figure the movie out, because as soon as they say, oh, I want to take the boat on the water, I'm like, okay, so the boat will end up in a pool, because Meemaw will have a pool, because why the fuck not? At some point the boat will detach, and they'll lose all their shit. Like you can really track this movie. It's really funny. Because I watched this other movie a year ago from my childhood that I love. I watched a Goofy movie, and it's basically a Goofy movie, but everything about it done incorrectly. Like, everything. Everything you love about a Goofy movie, if you go to the opposite end of the spectrum, that's this movie. And it's genuinely unbelievable how they found a way to fuck this movie up over and over. When Moonlight is when I get more laughs from Moonlight than I do from a comedy, that's a problem. And this movie, I didn't laugh once. I the only time I laughed is when I just got to the end and I went, oh man, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Because spoiler, at the very end of the movie, the boat detaches from the van, and the van is just rolling down the hill, and I was just thinking, God, can the steering wheel just pop off and hit Greg in the head, and that's the movie ends. But the boat, like, goes off this haystack, because, you know, they're in the country, and it goes ahead and it lands in this pool in Meemaw's backyard, and she's like, oh, Greg, it's so good to see you, or however the fuck she sounds, and the whole family's okay, and the whole family, by the way, gets down the hill quicker than him, and gets out of the car, because when they show him, in the next shot, they show the family, they're like, oh, Greg, you're here, and he went, how did you beat him down the hill, and
it's just Greg being Greg, you know?
God damn, I hate this movie so much. Just, Colin, go ahead, man.
Dude, you were mentioning Goofy movie. I remember there was another one. It was like a road trip, and it was like Tiny Toon Adventures, like How I Spent My Vacation or something like that.
Yeah, How I Spent My Summer Vacation.
Yeah, and it was like the tiny Daffy Duck was going with like Porky Pig's family, and they were just like the most awful family ever, and he hated it. And it was all them going to Wally World or whatever. And the main part of that movie I remember was just like the road trip, and the whole time I'm thinking like, this fucking movie's more unbelievable than the little duck going with the pig family. I was like, this is so like ridiculous. That, like, just like you said, when they just like all pop out, like I just wanted them all to just be like, "Durr!" Like, just like right when they pop out of the door, and they're just like, "Oh, you landed perfectly in the pool." Oh, that's hilarious. Meemaw, you're not mad or anything. Like, oh man, Greg, you're such a goof. It's like everyone, like he was like almost died and got raped and eaten and murdered like so many times in this movie, and they just like, it's all just like they laugh it off like this. Like if you watch it like knowing that they're all like psychopaths that just like laugh and like make terrible decisions the whole time, it would be like a really creepy movie, but it'd be believable. Like, oh man,
like they should turn this into like a Final Destination type movie, where it's like where like they're all happy family and like silly things happen to them, and then it gets like very dark and like they don't make it to Meemaw, so Meemaw's dead and like someone murdered her or something like that. Like that would be such a better ending to this movie.
Yeah,
and he like gently gliding down into this pool. Like let's put a little blood and guts. Like maybe he takes off Meemaw's head as he's like careening into the swimming pool or something like that. Like you're by even saying Goofy movie in this review, you're really like doing it a disservice, I feel. But because I love Goofy movies so much, but I can't believe I would rather go back into that awkward ass theater where I saw My Little Pony and I felt like a predator. I would rather go back there and sit through that movie again than to sit here at home comfortably and watch this movie one more time. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's funny because I was sitting here and I've just seen these movies enough where I went, okay, so Diaper Hands thing will come back at the end, it'll be a good thing. And so the kind of after credits, you know, the Marvel-esque after credits stinger or mid credits stinger is these two girls coming up and like, and you think they're gonna go talk to the older brother, which why the fuck would he? Because he looks like he looks like a really anorexic Adam Driver from Girls, or Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
That's all I was thinking the whole time, and not as good of an actor as Adam Driver, by the way. But
Very unfortunate looking.
looking. Yeah, but he's like, oh, watch and learn. And these girls come up. She's like, oh my god, are you diaper hands? Can we take selfies with you? Ah! And I'm just thinking, oh my god, this is just like, this movie keeps getting worse. And I just sat there thinking, I don't know how this got made. I don't know how this wasn't a Nickelodeon TV movie, because that's exactly where this belongs. The fact this was in theaters is genuinely upsetting when there's stuff like Ingrid Goes West and like these indie movies that struggle to get distribution, and this got wide distribution. Just
$20 million they got to make this. That's insane.
20 million?
Yeah.
That, good fucking god, that makes me so sad. Like
22. That's what, according to IMDb, this movie had a $22 million budget, and thank God it made less than that.
Yeah, I'll say Silver Lining. It only made 20 million, so maybe that's gonna be like, okay, maybe we should probably stop doing it.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective, the budget on District 9 was 30 million.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So this almost costs the same amount as District 9.
What did they spend honestly, what did they spend the money on? Like, the special effects in this movie are dog shit. Like, there's a scene where one of the older brother throws up in one of those spinning rides at the fair, and, like, it's just... so cringeworthy.
I feel like it was shot in 3D. I feel like this movie was like you could watch it in 3D, and they probably did that just knowing that like stupid kids are going to be like, I want to watch it in 3D, or you know, like, I'm just going to be the worst, most horrible child for the next week. And the parents are like, fine, we'll pay extra. So it was just like a cash grab, but it was like, oh man, yeah, exactly. Like right when the puke comes out, it just looks like it. Like I was like, this is the worst cheesy special effect that was probably shot for 3D. I was like, oh my god.
Where am I? Like SimCity? Like what is this? What is this like SimCity 299? Come on, guys. Let's put a little extra money into the computer generated graphics in this thing, and maybe a little less on. Maybe they just spend it all on the actors. Like who knows?
Man,
yeah,
I can't imagine them getting paid that much money. Because I mean, maybe they were just like no one would do it, and they were just like, we gotta get a bigger budget so we can actually get actors to act in this, because people don't want to be embarrassed and have their careers come to a like startling halt.
Yeah, this movie just pissed me off. Like I really just sitting here. So just to put in perspective how dedicated I am to this podcast, I actually downloaded this on my phone, which I should have burned after I finished this, but then I came home and watched the last 20 minutes or so. So I watched this in between or before I started work, because I got there early, and my boss kept saying, why do you keep shaking your head? I'm like, oh, I'm watching Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul, and I kind of want to put a bullet in my head right now. And she's like, oh yeah, don't do that. I was like, yeah, I won't, but god damn, man. Just getting to my final thoughts. This came out a couple of back in May.
Yeah.
And man, I'm really happy I didn't say, hey, let's go see this in theaters, because if I did, I might have walked out. This might have been my first movie that I walked out of.
I think when I heard it was out, I like questioned what year it was. I was like, there's a new Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie out. Like I remember just like seeing like a trailer or seeing advertisements for it, and I was like, is this the third one? Is this actually 2012 right now? I don't understand. Like I thought a third one came out like 5 years ago. Bizarre.
It definitely
so
did.
Bizarre.
Yeah, this really was just it. So Jeff Kinney was one of the writers for the screenplay, and he was actually the one who's written all the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. And I'm gonna be honest, man, I hope he was well. I was gonna say I hope he's well compensated. I hope he wasn't well compensated. Now that I think about it, because he doesn't deserve to get paid for such an absolute piece of crap like this. This was unbearable, honestly. And like I said, if I saw this in theaters, I mean, I would refuse to let this be the first movie to break me. But goddamn, it would have got me close, because this was upsetting to a point where I just couldn't believe it. And as the movie kept going, I just felt myself getting more and more pissed the fuck off. What else is there to say? This is bad. This is so going to be on the top 10 worst of, if not my top 5. I couldn't believe this. This is a go fuck yourself to the highest degree. And it's amazing that I would rather watch a movie about ponies than ever watch this movie again. I would actually watch Suicide Squad before I ever watch this again.
Wow, that's something.
I'll go one further. I would actually watch Mr. Church before I ever watch this again. I hated this, man. This just... Oh my God in heaven. Colin, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I looked up that guy, Jeff Kinney, and he's not even like a screenwriter. He literally wrote like the children's books, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Okay.
Like the first one that came out in 2007. And I mean, that's just this dude, and apparently he's the executive producer on these as well. So
great.
This dude's just trying to keep getting them checks. Like, he's clearly trying to, like, milk every last penny out of his, like, stupid book series that people are forgetting about because it was a decade ago that the first one came out. And, oof, man, someone's got to stop this guy. Someone has got to stop Jeff Kinney. He is running loose, like, getting new versions of these horrible movies made. Like, I didn't like the first ones, but I really don't like this one. Like, this one is 100% a go fuck yourself. Like I could never, ever even think of watching this movie again. If I did, someone, like, put it on and I had no control of the situation, I would freak out. I would, like, not be able to be in a room where this movie was playing. It's absolutely going to be one of the movies on my worst of list this year. It's just, like, looking at the pictures on IMDb of it makes me angry. Scott, what is your final thoughts, sir?
That just makes me imagine just like sitting in a dentist's office or something,
Yeah.
and this is playing. And
Exactly.
You're like, listen, we may need to reschedule this appointment because I'm gonna need to leave. I can't handle this right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna need a referral to a different dentist.
Yeah, it was very hard to watch. I actually took a portion of this movie to cook myself a little food. Like, I had my headphones on listening to it. So, like, you could tell what was going on. You didn't really need to be watching this movie. And it was a struggle. The whole thing was a struggle. I feel like actors can only do so much in a movie. Like, there's a certain point where the writing takes over and the screenplay takes over and the directing takes over, and they really, I want to avoid the word direct, but they really direct these people to act a certain way, and they have a lot of control over them. And but then there's a certain point where the actors have a responsibility to at least put in a decent effort, and I feel like nobody did in this. And that's what really pisses me off about movies, is when they just say, you know what, fuck you, we're just trying to try to make a little money here. We don't care who is watching this, as long as somebody is paying to watch this. And it just gets me fuming. The Beardo storyline just being thrown in there, the hijinks throughout the entire trip, it's not only predictable, but it's just, like, played out so poorly. Like, everyone knows what a road trip movie is. Like, everybody knows what this is going to be about. Like, it's a kid with his parents and his brother in a car. Like, it's going to be a shitty situation for him, obviously. But the way that it is played out is so poor, and such a fucking struggle. Go fuck yourself.
Yay!
I'm never watching this movie ever again.
Scott, it warms my heart when we're all on the same page on occasion.
It takes a movie truly this terrible.
Mm-hmm. Just to bring us together,
Yeah.
It takes this awful work of shit.
Yeah, I just, man, I think the part that honestly upset me the most is when, and this is so random, but the mom of Alicia Silverstone goes, hey, get everything on this list, and the brother just comes out with all the things not on the list, and there's a point where he locks a microwave pizza inside a safe.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I want to choke this kid so goddamn badly right now, because the dad goes, that's a safe son, whatever the fuck his name was, and he's like, "Oh, cleverly disguised as a safe. That's brilliant." I was like, I want to slap everyone as fucking fan. That's why I was like, go fuck yourself. This has to be go fuck yourself. There's nothing this movie could do to not.
And it has nothing to do, and like just to reiterate, it has nothing to do about like the audience that it's trying to go for.
No,
we've reviewed numerous like quote unquote children's movies that just are excellent and like have feeling and emotion and character development, and has nothing to do with the immature like nature of this movie, so to speak. It's just so poorly done. And it's so easy, it's so transparent, so easy to see through.
dude, let your kids watch Balto. Let them watch D2 the Mighty Ducks. Let them watch fucking The Page Master. There's like 100 movies.
Home Alone, dude.
Dude, let your kids watch fucking Underdog, which is fucking horrible. Let them watch anything but this god. Oh my god. Okay.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
You know, I've never told anyone to do this, but I don't care. Download this movie. If you can find a torrent for this, download it. Because these filmmakers don't even deserve money for this fucking movie. Like, if your friend can burn you a copy, and your kid's like dead set on seeing it, like they'll fucking like they'll cry every day until they see us. Find someone to download this for you. Because
first subscribe to us and then illegally download that.
Exactly, yeah. Please do that. But we never reviewed it, but just full disclosure, Captain Underpants came out like 2 months ago, and that movie's great, and that's for kids.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah, let them watch that. There's
Boss Baby. I mean, come on.
Whoa, let's pump the brakes.
No, I agree with you, Scott. But B minus, baby.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Don't watch Bob.
Seriously,
You don't know what you're missing, Colin. You don't even know.
I do know.
Seriously, it's the kid version of Dirty Grandpa, okay?
It's Alec Baldwin as a baby. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
We just veer off and just start talking about Boss Baby for the next hour.
We can't do
that. But guys, if you have seen, I would be curious to get a thoughts from people who've read the books, because I never read these fucking books. Why would I? But I mean, is this true to the book? I think it's like a series of books, like multiple books. I think they've done like 8 of these or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
I think it was the number 13 was the new one on Amazon when I looked it up.
Number 3, there's 13 of these?
I think so.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude, this guy gets his money. I'm telling you.
God damn.
He must be stopped.
Seriously, just but guys, if you saw this movie, I was about to say atrocity, but or it is, but or if you've read the books, let us know what you thought in the comments below. I'm very curious to hear what people who actually like these books have thought of this movie. Go ahead and visit our sponsor for the month, Fangirl. Oh my god, why the fuck am I blanking? Been drinking a little bit. Fangirl Cuddles, there we go. If you go ahead and visit them on Etsy or on Facebook, you can use the code RealPineapple, get $5 off your order. You're welcome. We will. God, I'm sorry. I'm so mad thinking about this movie. So it's like it's completely throwing me off.
You need a warm blanket to like nurse you back into comfort.
Yeah, thank God I have one off of Fangirl Cuddles. Wink. But guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have reviews up this weekend for The Foreigner. I'm getting through Marvels and Humans. I watched the first episode, rewatching the second episode. Third episode comes out. I think it's actually already out, so I'll have a full review up for that. And oh god, what else comes out this weekend? I think that's really it. Oh yeah, we'll have a review for American Made too, because Colin's seeing that. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. So guys, let us know what you thought of this movie. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at
Newman the First.
And you can follow Colin on Twitter at
The Real O'Neill.
Guys, thank you so much. We have reviews up for the final Justice League trailer, the final Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer.
Porg!
Yeah, we're actually going to review that right now.
Porg,
we'll have a review up and we'll have a review up as well for the first season, part 1 season of The Tick on Amazon, which I'm excited to talk about. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.